context on this girl, right? So I met her in school, in secondary school. She came to our secondary school quite late. So, you know, in like year 10, year 11, everyone's got their friendship groups, but she managed to find her way, and like, we were always cool. We wouldn't necessarily always chill with each other, but anytime that we saw each other or we had the same lessons, it was all love. After secondary school happened, you know, when everyone goes to sixth form or college or whatever it is that they choose to do after secondary school, we kind of drifted apart. Like, there wasn't any beef or drama. We just stopped being friends because we weren't in school every day and we weren't in contact with each other like that. So at the time of us rekindling our friendship, I had just been mauled by a dog. Go and watch my pinned post and the whole story times there if you want to find out what happened. And I was in a shop one day getting some snacks because I was off college and off work for a substantial amount of time, and I'm paying for my stuff at the till, and I hear, oh my god, Malika. So I'm thinking, who first of all is screaming out my government name like this? Not that I'm wanted by the police or anything, but I'm thinking, who is that? And I look up and it's the girl that I used to go to school with. So I'm like, oh my god, hey, like, long time, how's everything? We're having a proper catch up. And she's like, oh, I heard what happened to you, like, I'm so sorry. And I'm there like, you know, it is what it is, like, what can we do? Anyways, we exchanged socials, and then she's like, oh, like, we should meet up for like coffee or something. So we've got each other on socials. Over time, we get closer. She invites me to her birthday, and our friendship kind of grows from there. It was really cool, like friends, and she would, you know, be very affectionate and speak life into me and always encourage me. And she was so cool. So I thought. Using the Amika styling oil on the ends of my hair. This smells so good. She grew up with mum and dad at home. Everything was, as it seems, quite normal. So because she lived local to me, we'd spend a lot of time around each other's houses, but she wouldn't really come to mine. I would go to hers, not for any particular reason. I then gathered that her mum and dad were quite strict. They wouldn't really allow her to be out after certain times, or she wouldn't be allowed to go to a lot of events and places that I would go because I had a different level of freedom. Guys, I think I just bought fake gummy wax. We'd either do stuff during the day or I'd just go out with my other friends in the night. So now fast forward some time, you know, we've been cool with each other. Like, I would catch her out in a lot of like little white lies, but you know them lies where you can't even really say anything because then you look like the mad person. But I would always just keep like a mental note in my head. On Monday, I'll ask her this and her answer is something different. And then on Friday, when I'm asking her the same question, her answer is something different. So that was just always something that I would think, why is she lying? But I could never bring it up because I would look crazy. And tells me that she's dating this guy and everything's going good. And obviously, as her friend, I'm like, yes, sis, like, you know, like, you got your little bae or whatever. But she had this thing for older guys. She always used to tell me that she wants, I don't want to say an uncle, but she liked an older guy. And I was always like, girl, like, you're just young, like, you're too young. But I'm not one to judge, you know, you can do whatever you want, but just be careful in it. Because I'm obviously asking questions about him, like, oh, where's he from? Where did you meet him? How can she tell me she met him at a house party? So I'm like, in my head at the time, I'm thinking, that's a bit dodgy because you're not even allowed out. How did you meet him at a house party? And also, the area that we grew up in, I don't want to sound like Mr. Busy Prime Minister, but like, I knew of everyone. So I would have been there too. Do you know what I mean? So when she was telling me she met him at a house party, I was just like, all right, cool. I'm going to ask her this again in a few weeks and let me see if her answer changes. If it stays the same, she's telling the truth. If it changes, then it's a lie. Fast forward a couple of weeks, I ask her again, where did you meet him? She said she met him on Tinder. I was like, that's making a bit more sense because you're not allowed out. You can't meet people. Well, not like people at like events and stuff, or like when you go out or bars or whatever, you do, because you're not allowed to go to these places. Or if she did, then she'll just lie and say that she's like with me, or she's just, I don't know, whatever she would lie and say to her mum and dad. Nothing wrong with dating apps. If you want to find your bae on dating apps, find your bae on dating apps. It's not that deep. I think she would try and like small girl me and be like, oh, like, where you talk to these young bucks, these young boys, they ain't got money, they ain't got this. Girl, I'm about 18, 19 years old. That's not my main focus right now. Yeah? Anyways, even though you lied about where you met him, like, I can look past that because it's the small little white lies that you can kind of get over, but they all add up over time. With this guy, she's telling me that she's going to Paris with him at one point. So I was like, Paris, you getting flued out? Nah, you've hit a lick, you've won in life. Like, I was so excited for her because obviously, who doesn't want their babe to take them on holiday? Like, come on, like, let's be serious, let's be serious. Also, another bit of information about my friend. She loved, absolutely loved 3 Shots with Tequila, the podcast. At the time, they were popping off. Like, she was obsessed with them. She loved Keith. She loves Taser Black. She loved Matthew Bridges. She loved all of them. She was a big, big supporter of their podcast, which was great. I never really listened to it, but like I was very familiar of them. Like I'd see them on social media. Like I knew who they were. I just hadn't listened to their podcast very like actively. There was a live show at one point, right? There was a live show and she asked me if I wanted to go. Even though I didn't really listen to their podcast, I was like, oh, my friend wants to go here. Like, one thing about me, I'll tag along anywhere. As long as it's a vibe and it's not boring, I'm there. So she's like, oh, let's go. So I'm like, yeah, cool, like, fine, no problem. And then on that day of the podcast, we decided that we were going to go to Fresh Island. You know, the festival, Fresh Island Festival, if you know, you know. We were just going to go to the festival for her birthday. She was turning 19. I think I was already 19 at that time. So this was over like a couple years. Girl, seen this on Instagram. We're going to shut it down. Let's start planning the trip. You're probably thinking, Malika, this story sounds completely normal. Like, why are you're taking ages to get to the main plot? You need to watch this properly because you're going to be shocked. I'm going to split it into 2 parts. Now, like the week of the holiday, right? Her man is, everything's perfect. Everything is literally cool. All I know is that she kind of has to lie sometimes to go out with her bae. She's met his mum and dad. She's met the whole family and everything's cool. Like, she's telling me like she loves him and how he's got this really good job. And I was like, oh, period. I'm in Sainsbury's warehouse, yeah, when I used to work in Sainsbury's in the clothing section. I'm in the warehouse, just on my phone, even though I should be working, but whatever, we move. And I get an Instagram message from her boyfriend. Now, the reason why he had me on Instagram was he followed me on Instagram and I screenshotted that and sent it straight to her because I don't want any wahalard. Your man's cool or whatever, but your man's not my mate. And also, I had never met him actually, but he was always saying, oh yeah, I really want to meet Malika. I really want to meet Malika. No. Message me. So when he's messaged me, he's like, oh, hi Malika, can you just let me know of your friend's address because I want to send her flowers for her birthday. So I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Oh, that's so nice. Let me send the address. I sent the address over. In my head, I was thinking, why don't you have the address to your own girlfriend's house? But that's neither here nor there. I don't know. Maybe he's lost it. I don't know. But that was a bit like, I've sent him the address and he's like, oh, no. I need the other address, the address with the gate. And I was like, what, like the front door garden? Or like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, I've got that address. She's got another house in it. And I was like, what the fuck? What's going on? And I'm messaging her saying, can you just confirm your address, please? Because I just need to do something. Because also I didn't want to expose the gift, the surprise. And he's like, what? Well, you know what? Let me just message her brother, her older brother, and then get it from there. And I was like, older brother? There's no older brother. She's the oldest. Maybe you're confusing her tall brother because she had a taller brother, and you think that he's older. No, maybe you just got it confused. Like, obviously, sometimes people make mistakes. Everything's all cool because that's her younger brother. She had 2 younger brothers, and no older siblings. She was the oldest. And he's like, no, her older brother. She's got 3 older brothers and then also 2 youngers. He's like, what? So you mean to tell me that this isn't her older brother? Let me see. And then he was trying to find, also this is on a call, on an Instagram call. So he was trying to find through their WhatsApp chat a picture of him. How can he send me a picture of Taser Black? This is Taser Black for reference. He sent me a picture of Taser Black and my heart sank to the bottom of my stomach. I was like, that's Taser Black. That's not her brother. Yeah, and obviously the guy that's got the podcast and stuff, yeah. So I was like, no. no, this isn't real. No, is this some sort of joke? He's like, yeah, she's got 3 brothers and then like they all do that podcast. And I was like, what, 3 shots of tequila? Wait, hold on a minute. So now I'm texting my friend saying, where are you? Like, answer my phone call, because I was trying to call her to see what the hell is going on. These are not her brothers. She just watches their podcast. Like, she really likes their podcast, yeah, but they're not her brothers, no. I don't even think they're all Nigerian. How could they be her brothers? I thought he was joking and he thought I was joking. But I weren't joking and neither was he. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? He's like, wait, so like all those events you go to, she goes there to manage and help with the event stuff. And I was like, no, the most recent event, because she was obsessed with wanting to buy a house at the time at the age of 19. I was like, all right, get to your bag, sis. But so the specific housing seminar thing she wanted to go to was, I think Matthew Bridges was doing it with some solicitor. So I'm there sitting here listening to people talking about mortgages and stuff about like 19, thinking, girl, I'm trying to live at home for the rest of my life. But she's like really, really wanting to do this. So I said, okay, I mean, I'll come because there's a vibe, but I'm not buying a house. She wasn't helping out, no. And I was like, no, she bought a ticket. We both bought tickets to go. So all those times you've been out, she's not been with you. And I was like, no, like we would usually do, because I didn't want to snitch on her and say, yeah, her mum and dad's so strict. I would just say, no, we would usually do stuff during the day. Like I would go with my other friends to the events and stuff that I go to. But yeah, no, ever since she's turned 18, like I've not really been out with her. He's like to me, 18? He's like, yeah, we're going on holiday for her 19th birthday now. He's like to me, 18? What do you mean since she's turned 18 and you're going on holiday for her 19th? She told me she was 22.
I didn't hear that.
Mind you, this guy was 26 to 27-ish. Remember I told you she likes older guys. So I'm like, I'm trying to text this girl, text her, nothing's coming through. Her WhatsApp messages aren't going through. Right now, she has not got a clue that I'm on this phone call. So I don't know what to do. He's on the phone to me saying, oh my God, I feel disgusting. I feel sick. I feel this. And I'm thinking, oh my God, based off this guy has no clue. He had no idea. So now I'm sitting there thinking, Malika, you cannot facilitate this lie. You can't. That's mad. That's literally immorally, that is wrong. And that is very dangerous. And he was like, I feel sick. This whole time I've been doing things with this young girl. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So he's on the phone panicking, yeah? I don't know what to do. I'm like, oh my God. And he was then, well, how old are you? I said, I'm already 19. I'm turning 20 this year because I was. Story time about when my best friend literally lied about her whole entire life and her relationship, and I didn't find out until 2 days before we were going on our girls' trip. Like, oh my God, oh my gosh, this is mad. So what? So what's the truth then? What's the truth about her? Then he started asking me questions about her, about what she does. She was doing all right for herself, and at her age as well. One thing about her, she was gonna jug down. Like, she was one of those people who was so good at just finessing their way through things. I should have always known. I should have always known. I haven't even got on the trip yet. I've not even spoken to her, and we're already at this point. Things have gone left. I'm like, well, she works in XYZ and she's been doing it for XYZ time. And he was like, what? This girl told me she was a VP of Halifax Bank. And you, Mr. Man, at no point did you question, rah, she's doing all of this. Remember, because even though she lied about her age, in his eyes, he knew her to be 22. Vice President of Halifax Bank at 22. Oh, you're doing all right for yourself then, ain't ya? Ain't ya? She worked a good job anyways. I don't know why she felt like she needed to lie about that. And then I asked him a question. So I was like, wait, so what did you do when you went to Paris? Because didn't you see her passport or anything? Didn't you see? And he was like, we've never been to Paris. Oh, you've never been to Paris? I said, wait, so remember that time I was on FaceTime to both of you and she was getting ready and I was on the phone to her and you were in that hotel in Paris and I was on the phone to you and like, obviously that's, he was like, we literally stayed in like a hotel in London. And I was like, so that's why she couldn't bring me back my croissant. He's like, we never went to Paris. We never ever went to Paris. I've never actually even been to Paris with her. So she lied to you. And to be honest, this is kind of all making sense now, because you're sitting here telling me like the truth, and like now things are making sense on your end. This, like, I was even confused why she was even friends with you, because the way she used to talk about you, I said, let me get my Stanley cup and be seated. I had to sit down in the back of the warehouse, child. I sat down in that warehouse and I said, talking about me. What was she saying about me then? And he was like, so wait, just tell me a bit about yourself, a little bit, just so I can, like, yeah. So I'm there, sitting here, no, I'm in college, literally just working, vibing, yeah, winning, about to go on this girls' trip. Bearing in mind, I've already paid for this holiday, everything's paid for, and it's non-refundable, mind you. So he's like, yeah, no, she told me you dropped out of college, and how, like, you just don't want to work, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, you're basically ambitionless, and how you're just going to end up pregnant by some random guy because you just have sex with everyone. I was in disarray. I'm sat there in the back like, this is how someone can... She would always talk about you, and I would be confused, and I would always ask as well, like, why she's still friends with you, because if she doesn't rate you, why do you still hang around with me? And I was like, and then he was saying how, like, she basically just feels sorry for you because you're just a low life. Basically, you ain't got no aspirations, you're just a bum, and you always beg her for money. I was like, I'm sorry, I work 2 jobs. That is far from the truth. He was then telling me all of my family business. He was relaying my home problems back to me. That means she was taking what I was saying to her in confidence and running her mouth to her man. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. He was telling me basically what knickers I was wearing, what I had for breakfast, what I had for dinner, what I did on this day, what I did on that day. And I was in disbelief. She was dragging me through the mud. And then he then mentioned her friend, a friend that she had. And I was like, that's not her friend, that's my cousin. She's never met my cousin before, because he said the name and I was like, oh no, that's not her friend. I think you must have got this confused clearly, because that's my cousin they've never met. He was like, wait, so you mean to tell me that's not your cousin that she had to pay for to get to New York and get back home because she went there with no money? And I was like, she lied about knowing my cousin. She lied about my friend. My cousin, she's never even been to New York. That's what was even so mad. I was like, these lies are outlandish and you're believing them. Right. I was thinking, so you're just running a charity case. You're just running a charity case here. She's just giving money to the peasants, the poor, the brokies that beg her, the homeless people. And I was like, no, they've never met before. That's my cousin. They don't even have each other on socials. Like, do any due diligence. Have you not gone on Instagram following? You go and see, and she's not followed back by any of these people, but she follows them. Does that look like she knows those people? And he's like, oh my God, I never thought of that because I'm not really on social, blah, 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 all that stuff. My friend has done me dirty like this. All so she could try and make herself look better. Or whatever the case is, I don't even know why she would do that. I have to go on holiday with this person in the next couple days. Oh, this is long. This is so long. I was trying to think of an action plan, a game plan. We had a back and forth like, oh my God, what did she say about you? Oh, this is what she said about me. Oh my God, we were literally on the phone for ages, basically just spilling the tea. And then I was like, oh shit, like I've actually got to go do my job, but I'm going to deal with her later. I texted her saying, so you lied about your whole entire life, ? Then all of a sudden, the blue ticks, the 2 ticks went to 1. I was like, not her switching off her phone, but it's all right, because I'm going to see her, because remember, we're going away together. Then I finished work, I call all my friends telling them the madness. And what is so mad is that all my friends were not in support of this friendship. They were saying how she's bare weird, she's bare this, she's bare that. I don't know if I like her, I don't know if this, and I aired them. Because I was like, you guys, like, you just stop being a hater. Like, I can have other friends and be your friend still. Like, come on, there's enough of me to go around these times. I get a random number texting me. saying, I'm so sorry, Malika. I'm so sorry. This is all a big mistake. He's lying. So I'm like, so I'm calling the number and she answers off that phone. She's on the phone groveling to me, groveling. I'm so sorry, Malika. This isn't what was supposed to happen. I was going to tell him the truth and I was also going to tell you. Blah-de, 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 blah. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. All I know is I'm going on this trip. I have to. As soon as we get back, you're blocked. I'm on my way home from work. She's obviously calling and texting me. I'm having a kiki with my friends because I'm like, as if she's actually done this, guys. I've mugged myself off. Why do I pull up and she's at my house? Why do I pull up and she's at my house? Why do I pull up and she's at my house? Obviously, I didn't let her in. I told my sister, don't even open that door. Otherwise, that's it. We're done. You're not my sis anymore. She came to my house to try and beg for forgiveness. Obviously, I weren't having it because she's just weird. Like, she would sit there and try and justify why she said these lies about me. And I was like, listen, if you want to lie about your boyfriend, that's all fine. But you lied about me. You lied about me. I didn't do anything to you. Oh, I'm sorry. Leave it. Little bit, leave it. I don't want to hear it. Next day comes, she's still messaging me, I'm sorry. I'm not having it. I'll go and get my hair done. T-1 day before the trip. I said, listen, I'm willing to put my pride aside and squash my beef for these 5 days. I'm not going to chat to you like that, but we have to literally sleep in the same house. I was shitting myself. I didn't want any of this. And then bearing in mind, I was going on holiday with 3 of her friends. I didn't even know these girls. Was I mad? Was I actually mad? Yes, clearly. So I've gone on holiday with this girl. The trip is good or whatever. I think only one of her friends knew what actually happened, but her other friend was a bit of an enabler and she was trying to say that I was overreacting and she was trying to gaslight me, but obviously I stand on business. I know my truth. I know I'm not overreacting. Then there's like, I think I was looking on Snap the other day and this is what ignited me to tell this story. I saw a clip. I'm taking snaps of myself like, hey, on my holiday. And in the background, she's like, I'm just so sorry. Please forgive me. I hope we can go past this. I'll see if I can find it and I'll add it in here. Thank you for what? For what?
Just trying.
Huh? Oh, yeah. What? Like it's a carnival. By your mama house.
And I'm very sorry for dragging you into everything.
She was begging. And it was hilarious because I think she thought if she begged so much that I'd be friends with her. And I was never going to be friends with her. Ever. So we've come back home to London. Like, the trip was bearable. Like, I managed. I did have a good time nonetheless. Her friends were weird. Didn't like them. From when someone can lie and say that Taser Black is their cousin and that Matthew Bridges is their brother or whatever she said, and at the age of 22 she became vice president of Halifax, and that. So guys, please stay vigilant because some of these girls, as a girl, you really need to be careful about who you're making friends with and you need to do your CRBs. Let's bring back CRBs. I still can't believe to this day it even happened. That's how unreal it is. Guys, that's my story. If you've got any questions about the situation, comment and then let me spill some more tea in the comments. Also, if you want me to do more story times, let me know because I'm sometimes tired of doing hair and makeup stuff. Let me spill the gist of my life because it's not real. It's not real. But yeah, guys, peace and love. I'm going to finish my hair and step out. Bye.
Is that I was only really allowed to go to Christian concerts. I didn't go to my first concert my actions, but on top of the screen time, I was
I didn't hear that.
Here are strict rules my parents had for me growing up that would throw most normal kids into an insane asylum. The first one being that I had screen time on my phone until I was 18 years old that shut off at 10 p.m. every night. And when I was younger, I had to plug in my phone out in the kitchen 10 p.m. every night. And when I was younger, I had to plug in my phone out in the kitchen, and at one point, electronics had to be plugged in the kitchen. Shout out to my mom and dad. This is not a nag at them at all. I was just kind of a wild child, and obviously some of these rules needed to be put in place because of my actions. But on top of the screen time, I was never really freely allowed to have social media until I was around 18. I don't even know if all you guys know, but when I first blew up on TikTok, I wasn't even supposed to have TikTok. So essentially I snuck it like the rebel I am. And when I first got Instagram and Snapchat, they were both on my mom's phone. They've also always had all my logins. At one point, I did actually end up having a flip phone for a month. I think like my sophomore or junior year. Everyone thought it was so funny, but that was a consequence. Next thing I always thought was interesting is that I was only really allowed to go to Christian concerts. I didn't go to my first concert until my senior year, which was a country concert. I had gone to probably like 5 or 6 Christian concerts, and I only really could listen to good music with my parents. Anytime something raunchy would turn on, they'd be like, oh my gosh, turn it off. As for boys, I was never allowed to have a boyfriend until I was 16. Obviously, I went against this rule because I was just a rebel, but they wouldn't allow me to actually have a boyfriend until I was like 16. Then when I first got my license, or when all my friends were getting their license, absolutely no one but me was allowed to drive me. My dad even threatened to have my best friend take a driving test with him to make sure that she could drive me places. This rule kind of ended up giving out a little bit, but it was very strict for my sister. She was never allowed to have a guy drive her, friends drive her, anything. So I'm glad that it loosened up because I had a boyfriend that was allowed to drive me, but no one was allowed to drive my car, leave marks on my car, like anything, which I guess is understandable because it was a nice car. And another thing is my house had cameras everywhere, like almost every hallway, every angle, and they always said it was to keep people out, but I honestly think it was to keep me in. And like I was never allowed to have boys over without supervision, which is completely understandable, but it's not like you could get away with any of that because we had cameras everywhere. And the cameras really did start going into effect after I got caught sneaking out once. For some reason, my parents are really smart. They're not like old clueless parents. They're like old smart parents that always find out about everything. So the first time I ever snuck out was to see my boyfriend at the time, and when they found out about it, they literally made me go to his house when I was about to take him on a date and then apologize to his entire family and rat him out. That was like the first time they had ever met my boyfriend at the time, and kind of same with his parents, and that prevented sleepovers for a long time, even with my best friend. I feel like all my consequences were very extreme for really what happened. Talk back, phone taken, 5 minutes past curfew, cars taken. Up until my senior year, I was never allowed to go anywhere unless my parents had like all the proper connections, like knew who's gonna be there, whose parents were gonna be there. I swear I would have to present like a 30-page PowerPoint to go anywhere, and maybe I'm being dramatic, but that's what it felt like. Until I got my car, I didn't really have to worry about this, but once I did, if there was like a party or a large get-together, I could never stay the night. I always had to drive home afterwards. Essentially, that was keeping me from drinking and doing drugs and all of that stuff, which I was never allowed to do, which I never did do in high school. And my curfew was always like 10 or 11, so people just didn't invite me anywhere because I literally would have to leave 30 minutes after everything started. As far as my grades, school, and like my sports go, those were kind of self-pressured by me. I always excelled in them because I wanted to. I feel like if I didn't, though, my parents would have had some rules about it, but honestly, I was really good about that. I turned out okay. For me, I was never a bad kid. Even the worst normal things I would do is probably better than some of the normalized things kids do nowadays. But it's like if I would do something wrong, it felt like I was being punished, drugs or something. Even my senior year, I still had to like sneak out to go to parties and stuff. Sorry, mom and dad, because they wouldn't have let me sleep over there. They definitely knew, but I think they did chill out when I was a lot more. That's just what came to the top of my head. Like I know I could never do like sleepovers on school nights or things if I had something the next day, but I think that's just normal. So yeah, now that I say them all out loud, they don't sound like the worst things in the world, so let me know your guys' thoughts and your guys' rules if any of you guys have the same things in common. I don't know, it's just funny now. I always had the helicopter parents that were always in my business without me telling them. It was like searching through phones or media accounts to figure out what's going on. I feel like a lot of these are reasonable. I just wish I had a little bit more of a social life in high school, but I'm not mad that I didn't because honestly, they probably weren't making the best decisions anyway. And now that I'm on my own, they have completely let go of me. Like, I am completely on my own. I think they know that they raised me good, and now they've just let go. So thanks, mom and dad, for raising me right, even if it might have been a little straight and narrow. So I gotta go. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.
Do a get ready with me for a Sephora ship while I tell you crazy holiday stories that have already started happening, because you know what? People are broke. So they're gonna rob the store every time. We're here and we're back with another Sephora story time because it's the holiday season and the stories are already getting juicy. Let me just give you a few stories on what the holiday season looks like when you work at a makeup store like Sephora. Look, I get it. Makeup and fragrance is expensive, but robbing a store show out for Christmas is crazy. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I could personally give a gift and be like, here you go, knowing the whole thing is fucking stolen. And you know, a lot of these stories, I feel like I missed the really good juicy ones, like this one that happened last week. It was one of my off days and I get a interesting text message. And that text message, simply put, said, someone just caught on fire in the parking lot. Now, I want you to imagine, okay, getting that text message and just looking at it and trying to put the pieces together. How could this possibly happen? Okay, we work at Sephora. What do you mean someone caught on fire in the parking lot? So my coworker's just like, wait until tomorrow when you come in and I'm just gonna tell you all the details because it's like crazy. And I'm like, okay, bet. So I go in the next day and I'm immediately like, can you explain, like, what do you mean someone caught on fire in the parking lot? There were two young men in the store and they were looking at the cologne, and I want you to keep in mind that any cologne that is out and about is fully used, okay? Like, it's being used by customers. So if you're taking a fragrance, like, you're taking a fragrance for yourself. So I know this wasn't a Christmas gift because these were two teenage boys stealing cologne. Boys take the fragrance, go to the back Kohl's store in order to, like, come with a plan to leave the store. Keep in mind that they're already aware that they have, in fact, stolen the fragrance. So at this point, they're just, like, waiting for them to leave the store. One at this point attempts to leave the store and is immediately, like, apprehended and is like, nope, we know you're stealing, like, come with us. So the one, like, left in the store is like, oh shit, like, my friend just got caught, like, I'm stuck, like, I gotta go. But this teenage boy decides that he's gonna try to, like, you know, make a run for it out of the store and just, like, try to dip up out of there, which, you know, do you, boo? Let's see how this goes for you. Takes the opportunity to start sprinting from the back of the store to try to go out the exit and, like, just run out. I want you to keep in mind that there are police officers fully waiting for this man outside. And he takes off and he gets to the parking lot and he's running and they're literally yelling at him. They're like, stop, stop. And he's still taking off. Like, he does not care about none of that shit. They yell at him and they're like, we're gonna tase you if you don't stop. Like, stop running. Apparently, he also happened to steal an Amika hairspray. And that was found out through what's about to happen next. Doesn't listen, so they decide to tase him. And as soon as that taser hits that man, his pants immediately catch on fire because apparently one of the prongs hit the hairspray and poof. So just fair warning, the Amika hairsprays are very flammable if you didn't know. They're like, police officers are literally stepping on this man trying, oh. What? Hello? The police are literally, like, stepping on this man's pants trying to put him out. He ended up having to take care because his pants burnt off. I've grown up believing in karma, and that is the most instant karma I've ever seen in my life, if I think I've heard of one. Yesterday, while I was at work, we had credit card fraud attempt. So basically, they were trying to use someone's, like, account information in order to purchase $1,000 in gift cards. This is very common to the point that, like, it blocks those type of transactions when it sees them. They don't tend to happen a lot. The guy was really calm about the situation and just left, which is good because the only other option in the end of this story was him getting arrested because, babe, we know it's fake. There was a situation last year, I remember, I'd only been working at Sephora at this point, probably like for 4 months, and there was a woman in there and she was trying to purchase like $2,000 in gift cards. Now, it's the holiday season, so normally that's not normal, but I figured because it's the holiday season, like, okay, people are gonna be dropping like a bag on gifts, so I thought that this was one of the cases. I was trying to like check her out. It was doing the same thing where it would not let me check her out. At this point, I've never seen that before because obviously new. And I look at it and I'm like, for some reason it like won't let me put this transaction through. And unlike this man who calmly exits the premises, this woman fully starts cussing me out, and I'm the only one working and it's like 8 o'clock at night and we close like in an hour. She's like, you dumb beep. First of all, watch yourself. He's like, are you sitting here trying to call me broke? Like, you won't have my transaction go through. Like, I have this money in my account. Like, I'll show you my bank account right now. Again, new in retail. I'm like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Like, I don't know why it's not working. Like, I'll call someone over. And she was like, yeah, call your boss over. Like, call them over right now. I did. And because she was like getting so loud and like rude, my manager at the time was like, ma'am, this is fake. Like, this is fake. So unless you're gonna leave, we're gonna call the police on you. She proceeds to go on this whole rant how she's a real killer and she'll come back up and blow this place up. And then walks out. And I had to be walked out to my car that night. Okay, guys, so I'm done with my makeup, which means I'm done with this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that Sephora story time, and best believe there is gonna be a lot more because it's only November.
I'm running late to work to tell y'all what happened with that story time, you know. Hold on. I'm gonna try to run through it real quick in 10 minutes. If not, I guess I'll make a part 2, but hopefully I won't have to. I'm gonna address this first. Did he come with a gift? What's in that bag? So it wasn't a gift. He came from the Apple store because his phone had got broken or something like that. So he went from the Apple store to the hotel. But this story is so long, like, oh my gosh. All right, let me just get into it. Okay. First of all, that video of us in that hotel happened about, I guess, like 4 years ago. Yeah, I think it's like 4 years ago, yeah. And around that time, me and him, we lived together. But we got into like some, I can't get into it, but we separated for a little bit. But you know, when you separate from your baby dad or your baby mom, it's never really separated unless you're really standing on business. And I was young, so I was never really standing on business per se. So that was still very much my nigga. And so prior to that, I got into a car accident. And before that car accident, he wasn't there for about 2 weeks. No, I'm lying. He wasn't there for about a month. And then in that month, he didn't help me with my daughter. I lost jobs because he just wasn't there to help anymore because he was on some bitter shit because we separated. I kicked him out. So fast forward to the car accident, I called him. I'm like, it's not about our child. I know, like, you're not watching her, but I just got in a car accident. I almost died. My body is bruised up. Please come over. Like, you know. So he comes over. At the time, my daughter was with his parents. So it was just me and him there. He's literally pulling glass out my back, like little shards of glass. Like, giving me my favorite snacks, making sure I'm like, was with me hand and foot and was basically saying, oh, we need to work on our family again. Like, let's just work on our family. That's my nigga. Like, we was never broken up, babes. So it was nothing. It was nothing. And so he was like, yeah, let me just go to the spot I was at, which I should have looked into it more. He wasn't at his folks' crib. He was like, let me go to the spot I was at, I'm guessing his friend's house, to get my stuff, and I'm coming back home. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm like, yeah, because we need to be a team. Like, we are a team. Like, this ain't even us breaking up, you know? Okay, so he left in the morning, and he did not come back. Like, he did not come back, y'all. Like, I was so confused. I'm like, where the fuck is he at? Like, where are you? Where are you, babe? Where are you? So, I'm not the type to go through people's phone. I'm not the type to go snooping. But when I call my friends, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was very delusional and very fucking stupid 4 years ago. Like, So, I was like, I don't know what to do. They're like, you want me to do my FBI shit? I'm like, what would you do? So they're like, oh, I'll go through social media. So I said, no, I'll do it on my own. I went through his social media. Went through the social media, found some girl commenting on all his stuff multiple times, and him responding only back to her. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, this gotta be a connection. Maybe he was with her. I don't know. Maybe I could find out some information on where he at through her. Mind you, after my car accident, even though I'm fully in pain, I still slept with him. So it was like giving, like, yeah, babe, like, we're at an understanding that we're going to work this out because I'm not just sleeping with anybody. And if you say you hear, we hear. No. So, okay, where was I? Okay, yeah, so the girl, I reached out to her. Not on no, like, coming to you as a woman, because it would never be that. But it was like, do you know where my baby dad is? Like, do you know where my baby dad is? Even though I probably should never fucking said that. But I was like, you know what? She's like, oh, are you Jazz? Like, are you Maui's mom? Knew my daughter, called my baby dad by his first and last name. Like, she just knew everything about him. So I'm like, looking, it said this girl's in New York. So I'm like, we're in Philly. Like, where are you? That's like, where are you? And she's like, oh, I'm in college right now. She's like, she's from New York, but she wasn't in New York. She was somewhere in a different state. So this was like a long distance relationship. So, okay, boom, he not with you. But she knew about the whole situation because she was like, oh, are you feeling any better? I'm like, feeling better about what? She's like, you were in a car accident. So I'm like, how do you know I was in a car accident, sis? She's like, oh, this is what he said to me. And she sent me a screenshot. And he was like, I had to rush to the hospital. My BM and her mom was at the hospital, so I had to go you know, to the hospital. So I guess he had texted her that because I guess she kept trying to call him and he wasn't picking up. And then he was like, I love you. We'll talk soon. I just got to see what's going on with her, if she's going to make it. Make what, bitch? Like, what? So I'm like, hold up. Did he, like, what else did he say? Like, how do you know about my daughter? She also sent me a screenshot of him saying, my baby mom is so obsessed with me. She won't leave me the F alone. She just got me watching my child all the time. I never get a break. She's a deadbeat mom. Like, all this stuff. And I'm just, like, baffled. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I was working at the post office. I was working Amazon. I was working all these fucking jobs while still having my daughter. And I literally would have to drop her off to, like, a family member and then come pick her back up. That was my world. And every time I call him, like, hey, my family can't watch her tonight. Can you? Bro, I'm not doing it. So where is the... And then when he said I was obsessed with him, no, I would just easy to get back in my good gracious. Like, I wasn't, like, reaching out, like, please come back to the family. Please, please, please. No, it was like, can you watch your daughter? No? Okay. You don't want to be home? Okay, cool. And I let him go. But every time he came back, I allowed him to come back. Like, what the fuck? And, of course, I was going to try to work it out. He was the father of my only child. He is the father of my only child. So, yeah. Back to the girl, though. So, we're talking back and forth. We realized, like, he's the problem. Well, I already knew, but she realized he's the problem. And she was just like, yeah, I knew something was wrong. Like, I knew this, that, and the third. She was like, I said, have you ever met him in person? She's like, no. And I was like, well, he told me he was coming back here with his things. I haven't heard from him. I keep calling him, bro. At this point, I might have called him like 70 times trying to figure out what's going on. And he's just not responding. So then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go back to, are you going to get your child? And that's what it was. So I was like, you know what? If you're not coming, you ain't have to lie to me. That's like all the messages I kept saying. I sent messages off my friend phone, everything. I'm like, all right, but what's your stance on your child at this point? Because now